Alright, so I'm so freaking excited for this video, but parts of this may sound negative. I promise that this is going to be a positive video, but we gotta talk about Halo. What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and it sounds like the Xbox One version of Halo Infinite may have just been cancelled officially. Now the reason I consider this a good thing is because it seems like this game is trying to be so big and ambitious that the fact that this may be an Xbox Series X, Series S, and PC exclusive just means that it can be able to reach its full potential. Now let's take a look at the news itself, and then I want to give you some opinions as to why I'm actually hyped to hear about this possible cancellation. Rumor, Halo Infinite's Xbox One versions may have been scrapped. Now, I just mentioned here it's going to be only on the Xbox Series X, Series S, and PC, but the motivations are the part that also has me intrigued. Obviously, this week we got Cyberpunk 2077. The last 10 days have been incredibly crazy. The game is a totally broken mess on last-gen tech. If you're trying to play it on a base model Xbox One, a base model PlayStation 4, the game is so glitchy and unplayable. And even on next-gen systems, they're still having save state corruption. It's a very, very glitchy game. And in my opinion, from the people I've managed to talk to, it sounds like a major issue is the fact that the developers were trying to release it across so many generations, because managing to get something to run very, very well on an Xbox One X, a One S, like all the different versions, it's actually quite an arduous task. Trying to get things to go really, really smoothly, you're going to have a lot of bumps. Now let's take a look at this. According to an updated description of a 343 Industries employee, it seems that Halo Infinite's Xbox One versions are no longer in development. Now this is the actual thing here. As you can see, games in development, Halo Infinite for Xbox Series X, PC, all of this coming in 2021. And this guy is obviously working pretty high up because he's making the UI for Halo Infinite, finalized art direction, stuff like that. Out of respect for the privacy and confidentiality of the employee, we have chosen not to include their full details here. The employee in question has been at 343 Industries for 2 years and has been working on Halo Infinite since March 2020. Now, I'm going to very carefully show you this. I verified the information. This is real. Now, I'm not going to show you the account either because obviously this journalist wants to make sure that the guy can remain private. But I did want to look, now that I've seen it, this is definitely real. This is on LinkedIn. This is a real dude who really, really worked on it. He's working pretty high up as well because, as you can see, he's working on actually quite a bit of different facets of the Halo multiverse, or however you want to phrase it. The Halo project is clearly his main forte. While Microsoft's last communications to the public reinforced that the game is still headed for simultaneous release on Xbox One and Series consoles, this wouldn't be the first time a publisher has had second thoughts. Resident Evil 8 was recently rated in Brazil, but only on next-generation consoles. This could mean that Capcom is also having second thoughts about bringing their latest entry of Resident Evil to current-generation consoles. We actually see this quite a bit. This is not a big surprise to me. They also mentioned right here how Mortal Kombat X was originally going to be coming to the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and they went absolutely nuts. Something that comes to mind is definitely something like, when originally there was supposed to be this game called Final Fantasy Versus 13. After years and years of development across multiple generations, it ended up becoming a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One game. I think a lot of times developers have to change with the times, and Halo Infinite seems like it's trying to be so big and so expansive, but let's face facts. Let's just drop some very hard truth, which is this. What I have here is an original Xbox One. This is the VCR. This is the standard one. Honestly, I stole it from my roommate from downstairs because he hasn't plugged it in years. DC Comics sent him this, so it has all these DC decals. This is a big old freaking beefy beast, and it came out 7 years ago, 2013. This is basically archaic. Now, I love my PlayStation, I love my original Xbox and stuff, but these things, I mean, let's face facts, this is not the future of gaming. You cannot make a big, expansive, boundary-pushing experience on something this freaking outdated. So I understand why now they're kind of realizing that in order to make the biggest and best version of Halo, which let's face it, that's what this needs to be, you can't be doing it on 7-year-old tech. Okay, so let's just finish this article off real quick, and then I want to kind of just rant a bit, if you'll forgive me. As unfortunate as this might seem, it might be better for the title, considering how Halo is one of the most valuable IPs over at Microsoft. They could be wanting to not take any chances with putting out a version of the game that wouldn't live up to the standards they're expecting, unless they want a repeat of Halo the Master Chief Collection at launch. Because yeah, as much as I love Halo MCC now, the old school version of it was completely shattered. There's also a theory that, much like Forza, Horizon was handled by Sumo Digital and Playground Games to develop each individual version of the game, this could be the same case. However, that remains to be seen. I've seen a lot of people saying this, which is that there is still a chance that Halo Infinite might be coming to Xbox One, but they're just handing it off to a totally different team, where now Microsoft has realized we can't have our huge development squad trying to make 7 different versions of the game and making sure it's running perfect on PC and stuff. I understand that maybe they're trying to delegate and make smaller teams. But here's my thoughts. This is great because Halo was already having some problems. I think Halo Infinite, everything I've seen so far, the game kind of looks like trash. But that's okay. A lot of times games are in a surprisingly broken state right up until they hit store shelves. I mean, they're constantly trying to update and bug fix and try and make the game as polished as possible until you have the disc popped out of the freaking thing and put it directly into your console. So I understand why Halo Infinite, even if it's rough, there's still a good chance this game is absolutely going to rock. And the fact that now they can actually zero in and focus on just next-gen consoles, this can only be a good thing. Can we just take a second to realize how freaking insane it is that they originally intended, Microsoft wanted Halo Infinite out this year. Like, even now it's kind of funny because they signed so many marketing deals. The fact that we're seeing freaking Master Chief popping up in Fortnite, we're seeing Master Chief commercials all over the place, there's Halo Infinite Monster energy drinks and stuff. Clearly they intended this to be out in a matter of weeks if it wasn't going to be out already, and now it's being delayed perhaps an entire year. And I think that this is going to be a chance for them to fix it. Good game development takes time. I mean, I think we can all realize that. Of course, there's delayed games that suck, like Cyberpunk, but there's still so many projects that manage to really spend the time in the oven and become the masterpiece they absolutely deserve. I'm going to do my best to remain optimistic about Halo Infinite because this still seems like a project that might be very, very good, or it might be very, very bad, but let's for now try and reserve judgment. I do hope that we start to see some form of betas or alphas, or honestly just some raw gameplay at some point in 2021. That way we get a better idea of what this next chapter is actually going to look like. Is this going to be early access? Is this going to be games as a service? Is this going to be a full, complete experience? As of now, we have no idea, but I'm open-minded and very, very curious. But what do you think? Have you had a chance to see these leaks? Are you excited for the idea of Halo Infinite only being on the Xbox Series X? Are you hyped for the idea of this maybe being the first Xbox Series X exclusive? I guess we're going to see very, very soon. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. Oh my gosh, I'm legit excited. Like, oh my gosh, I am such an old school Halo fanboy. I'm curious. I'm so freaking curious as to whatever this game is going to turn into. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.